Witcher. Wild Hunt's release in May of 2015 gave me one of the most memorable, emotional experiences of my gaming life. I know this because with the release of Witcher 3, the Wild Hunt's Game of the Year edition, you'll also see it as the complete edition, I've fired it back up and I'm playing it over this holiday weekend. Doing so has washed up warm waves of nostalgia through my mind. I never got the chance to play the 2 DLC packs, so I figured now was the time to jump back in and take a little bit more time through the journey. Go back, play some side quests I miss, maybe meet some characters whose stories went untold, because that is the true beauty of this game. Its controls can be a little stiff. Sometimes the animations get kind of wonky, or they can get really fucking wonky. Who am I kidding? The inventory system is a tad dense. There's a lot to learn here. It's not the most accessible thing. But at the end of the day, none of that really matters, because CD Projekt Red built the most convincing open fantasy world in role-playing game history. Buried in a swamp or wrecked in a ship, found in a wounded traveler on the side of the road, or a slaughtered group of adventurers in the bushes. Each and every facet of the Northern Kingdoms is not only filled with quests, but filled with tales. All with unique dialogue and huge variants of actual quest types. And it's not just fetch quests. Witcher 3 puts every other RPG I have ever played to shame when it comes to embracing a player via side quests and the way in which their plots unfold. Not only this, but that these quests still manage to fit within the context of the overarching story, which in and of itself is a beautifully gripping tale full of brilliantly written characters. I never wondered, all through these extra journeys that I was taking, why would Geralt be hunting this beast when he needs to find Ciri? Some of my other favorite RPGs, so don't get mad if I'm calling these out, because they're still among my favorite games. Think of the first Mass Effect. You've got all these side missions you can do, yet we keep talking about how it's only a matter of moments before Saren comes crashing in with the Reapers to destroy the world. But we can stop on the moon and wander around. Or Dragon Age Inquisition, running around picking up letters off of dead soldiers all across this battlefield to deliver them. That's sweet, but first of all, it's lazy quest making. There's zero dialogue. You just walk up to a dude, there's no cutscenes, there's no... It's not good. And the game was fine, don't get me wrong. I love Inquisition, and I love all these. Even Skyrim was guilty of this when they came out before the game said unlimited quests. Yeah, unlimited quests, alright. Of the same thing over and over and over and over again. But in order to even reach the point in which the main story will move forward next in The Witcher, you automatically need the same things that Geralt does. You're going to need higher levels, better gear, and enough cash to even make it there in the first place. The developers tie Geralt's needs within the world to us, the players, on our couches and at our desks. Now, I know many of you have not been able to jump into The Witcher yet, and I absolutely understand. Some see the number 3 in the title, and they don't want to jump into an epic fantasy tale, the 3rd chapter. I identify with that completely. Now, while playing the previous games, or reading the phenomenal book series by the creator of this world, and excuse me if I pronounce this incorrectly, it's Andrzej Sapkowski, wrote these books in the 80s and the 90s, and they took off in Poland. They made a show out of them, which I heard sucked, and then CD Projekt Red took it upon themselves to basically finish Geralt's story with these 3 games. Now, reading the books and playing the games would fill in some big blanks and perhaps make this tale even more rewarding, but Projekt Red still did a really commendable job to introduce a new audience, and truly, you don't need to worry about that number 3. Feel free to jump in here if it's your first point. If anything, if you really fall in love with it, you can go back and play the other games. Now, I know others are turned off by Geralt's kind of gravelly Batman voice. And at first glance, I would absolutely agree. The first time I saw Witcher, I didn't like the actor. I didn't like his voice. I thought he was trying to be some tough guy. And a few other examples, or one example I can think of right now, is Adam Jensen in Deus Ex. He sounds ridiculous. He sounds totally forced. But you gotta know that Geralt's lack of inflection and his low rev voice is actually not the actor trying to sound tough. He's delivering the performance of a mutant, whose mutations ruined the part of his brain that allows for the most emotional expression. It's part of who he is. He's got this dry wit and this sarcasm and a sense of just world weariness that I think all of us can relate to, honestly, that make for some really comic and sometimes truly very touching and human moments. I urge you, if you play this game and you're turned off by the voice at first, give him a chance. He's most likely going to become one of your favorite video game protagonists ever. Now, other people, with Wild Hunt, it seems too big, too vast, too unfamiliar, and I would admit it is not the most accessible game. You will likely struggle with the controls for the first few hours, but much of this is by design, and as soon as it clicks, The Witcher's combat and exploration are some of the most thrilling in all of gaming. So, if you're looking for something to occupy your time during that final month of quiet time here before the explosion that is the holiday season, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Game of the Year or Complete Edition is time and money very well spent. And in all likelihood, it's still going to be more groundbreaking and original than anything else we're going to get to play later this year. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. My name is Ian, this is Zero HP, and we'll see you guys on the hunt. Later!